as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. I want to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Sandra Wicoff, and she is the Executive Director of Bourbon Harvest, which is a nonprofit organization here that has so much. They run some of the farmers markets here in town. They run they help support community gardens and do education, as well as school gardens. So I'll let her kind of explain a little bit more about their organization, but let's welcome Ms. Sandra Wicoff.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and I'm also really thrilled to hear more about Doctors for Change, and I give you a lot of credit for the work you're doing. Well, unlike the program that Reggie just described, Bourbon Harvest started before people talked about food insecurity, or before there was an obesity epidemic, or actually before people were acknowledging climate change. So it started in about 1994. Oh, I'm sorry. Started in 1994 by a small group of people led by Dr. Bob Randall, who really believed that if people would simply grow their own food using very organic methods, that would be the answer to the health of the individual, that would be the answer to the health of their community and to the region. So they were very much ahead of their time, and the mission right now is to encourage community, good nutrition, and sustainability through the teaching and support of organic gardening. We're always sort of revisiting the mission as things keep changing, but it's a vision of a healthier city where everyone has access to locally grown, nutritious food harvested from sustainable community gardens and farms. We serve the greater Houston area and probably about 180 miles out. We have a staff of 10. And then we have a lot of people who are contractors as well, roughly 2,000 volunteers a year, and a board of 13. The budget's about $1 million, and that's about half earned, and then half is fee generating. Impact. So our impact, the main thing that we really are interested in doing is increasing access and production of healthy, fresh food. And that's what all our programs lead toward. And we really want to empower individuals to grow food for themselves, their family, and their community, and to provide economic opportunity for our region's family farms and local producers. If you don't want to grow it, buy it, but keep it local, keep the dollars here. We also want to bring life to core curricula, teach children where their food comes from. We have a robust school program I'll get into. Encourage responsible ecological land use, engage and revitalize communities, and Bourbon Harvest really reflects the diversity and fosters interactions among people of different socioeconomic levels and intergenerational levels as well. As an organization, we sort of straddle between health and the environment. So it's very interesting. It's really both. And I know you all are very health oriented, but the environment impacts health so much that we find that it really, the intersection is much more than I think anyone ever dreamed before. So we have 4 primary programs. We're very education-based. We have a big community garden program, farmers markets, school and youth education, and then adult classes. Okay, I'm really not doing very well with this. So I'm so sorry. Now I'm going in the wrong direction. Okay. Our youth education program. It started when 21st Century Grants first came, so it's about 12 years old or so. And we're now in anywhere from 20 to 25 schools. This semester has been a very interesting start as to how many schools we're in. It's been a rocky start. But we serve roughly 4,600 kids a year. And we have a during school program and an after school program. It's won state awards. It's really fabulous. If you want to be inspired, go to a school garden and watch the students there. It's pretty amazing. They do not know where their food comes from. We've had kids go to a peach tree and take it off, and they're very shocked because it has, fuzz on it, and it's not out of the can. So, or you watch them pull a sweet potato out of the ground, it's really astounding, but it's an education that it doesn't have cellophane over it, and it's a first start. The other thing is if they grow it, they will eat it, which is a whole different story, okay? 90% of our school partners serve economically disadvantaged youth. Everything is TEKS oriented, and it really applies to all the core curriculum. So that's why we're able to do it during the day. It started as an after-school program, but ideally we will cycle through all the classes. Social studies, you can tie it into everything. And the kids get it. It's experiential learning. The gardens include vegetables, fruit orchards, habitats, and ponds. We have nutrition education that's basic, but we also use partners. The food bank is a great partner. Your nutrition services, Stephanie Burnow, she comes out, they help us. HISD Nutrition Services has also expanded. So we will layer on the work with partner organizations. We also are really moving in the direction to best leverage a small staff and the inability of every school to have a garden. We moved toward professional development. And so we started an Edible Academy. It was modeled after the Edible Schoolyard in Berkeley. And we just had our second year. It went one day in the summer of, I guess, what year are we in? 16. 2 day in this summer, and we're looking forward to a third day and adding teachers. And we sold out. The interest is very, very high. And we are certified to do that. And we have a lot of online resources as well. Here's just a little picture just to show engagement at a Montessori school. The kids are, it's fun. It's really fun. We also, moving on to education, we have education for adults, organic gardening and sustainability. We're the only organization that teaches how to start a community garden workshop. It's a half-day workshop, and we recommend it for everyone. And it's less about what you're growing and more about what you need to actually engage the community, and leadership and governance structure and all those fun things. Fruit Tree Care, we have an annual January sale. It's arguably the largest sale in the country, and so we have a lot of classes around it because we want people to be able to be successful, and it's, again, more production of food. A lot of organic gardening classes, and we're also the only organization that teaches certification series, which is the equivalent of going to a university and signing up for a semester. So growing organic vegetables, it goes over 10 weeks, and the permaculture, which has renewed interest because it's about sustainability and it's a design theory, but it's also for the farmers who grew using these practices. Some of the flooding was not as bad this time, so it really makes a big difference. And we have locations all around town. Farmers markets. These really, they keep the dollars in the community. We only use local. We serve 90 small businesses who derive a very healthy percentage of their income. We have one primary market on Saturday morning. It's the biggest direct producer in the region. And it's great. If you go there, you get to talk to the people who are growing the food. We support about 43 farms, and that's a list of things you can get there. And the prepared food, we also need everybody to keep a local standard with it, so that if it can be sourced locally, they do. We're also at City Hall, and we have additional venues also because people are constantly asking for markets. And really, most of the vendors, they're thrilled. So we view our job as creating economic opportunity for local producers. So we'll be at St. Arnold's Brewery this Sunday if you're looking for something to do. There's a pop-up market there. So it's a shameless plug. I'm sorry. The Saturday Farmers Market, we have chef demonstrations and nutrition education. The chef demos, if people don't know what to do with the food, they tend not to want to buy it, or they bought it once and it went down the refrigerator. And so it's really, we view those as a key educational component. And the nutrition education, we have a nutritionist that cycles in. And we have a nonprofit organization outreach. We have usually at least one. We have empty bowls, they're out there all the time. And dog rescues, which is ironic because we don't allow dogs, but that's another, it's a health department thing. Increasing access to healthy food. So, fruit and vegetable prescription program, we are actually partaking in a pilot with Wholesome Wave. It's a nonprofit, and Target and Memorial Hermann. They approached us, and the city markets are doing it, as well as, I believe, the East End Market and Urban Harvest, the Saturday Market. We are about halfway through. In Memorial Hermann, it's about 9 school-based clinics that are partaking, and they're going through probably a very similar process of screening for food-related illnesses, and they were gathering 300 families. It's been a little bit of a slow start. We're halfway through. Ironically, they started in Los Angeles, and now they're expanding, and they expanded to Houston and Miami. So they're both dealing with some sort of disaster there that sort of interrupted the program. I know, it's like you want to find out where they're going next, and maybe not plan a trip. I'm just kidding. They're a great organization. They're great. But that has been very interesting, and they are finding also similar things. They're about halfway through, and they did do a review of data with us. But there is a definite correlation between how much activity there is and what is your consumption of fruits and vegetables and what is your BMI and how healthy are you. So we're happy to be a part of that. We're also starting EBT and SNAP benefits starting November 18th at the market. And this is a segue into the next, but we have about 130 affiliated gardens that we offer support for. Of those, 78% are serving food deserts or adjacent low-income, low access to good food areas. So this is a somewhat outdated map, but it will give you an idea. On our website, we have a map very similar to this, but slightly updated, that shows where all the gardens are. You can press on it. You can also search by zip code. So if you're interested to see what is in your area, if you're interested in volunteering or getting involved in a community garden, or simply want to know what resources are in your area. They span over about a 100-mile radius, and we established this year 5 hub gardens. And what a hub garden is it's a distribution center, it's a mentor site, it's a place where people can go and get advice. We also distribute 3 seasonal, we have distributions of materials and plants 3 times a year because we have decided there are 3 growing seasons. So. But anyway, this is on our website, though, which is urbanharvest.org. So in that 78%, the reason we put it that way is it includes donation gardens. So they may be located in a completely different zip code, but they are completely dedicated to donating all the produce they have. We've estimated that over 60,000 pounds annually are donated to soup kitchens, homeless shelters, and pantries. Oftentimes they're in churches, but not always. So, allotment gardens is another type. If you live in a townhouse or don't have any sun and want to do this, this is a very, very common type of garden where you can just rent a bed. Maybe it's $5 a month, and that pretty much covers the water. We did a project in Sunnyside, which is the largest food desert in Houston. We actually deviated and built 2 gardens. They're doing very, very well. They're full. In fact, they donated to the Healthy Corner stores because we're also looking at that and working with Can-Do to try and procure local produce grown and get it in the corner stores, which is also providing economic opportunity. Volunteering. Am I going really fast? We have garden work days at a lot of gardens. We also have digging days, which are school work days. So this is really an opportunity to engage in the community. I encourage you to go to Gregory Lincoln Educational Center, which is on Taft Street, if you want sort of like the great model. So we have had multi-year funding in that location. It has allowed us to really grow it and also build community. So when we have the Dig-A days, we have people walking there from the community, we have restaurants coming by, we have AARP is involved with us, and they solicit and bring volunteers, and we really layer it also with adult classes oftentimes for Fresh Start. So we also have an Earth Day work day. We've done that for the last 3 years, where we find gardens that need large-scale projects. Our classes, we could use assistance, and the farmers market greeters, we also could use those, and the annual fruit tree sale. If you are interested as a volunteer for that, you get to pre-order trees. And so, you know, we're very interested in food insecurity, and we do address it, but we sort of came in the back door. And so we are less data-driven, although we're building the data now, but most of them start with data and then have a program. We've sort of come full circle and found that as an organization, we might be more relevant now than when we started, at least the way people are perceiving it when it comes to green space and using green space and what happens to floodwaters and, you know, building community, all those things. And so it's an exciting time for the organization. And how exactly we deal with health and we deal with physicians. The fruit prescription vegetable program is very exciting. It would be great if there were community health centers where there was a garden and people could get a prescription to go out and, you know, tend to the garden because you're out in the fresh air, you're with people, you're growing food, you know. So that would be a win-win in terms of a hopeful future with it. I don't know that that's being done actively. To the best of my knowledge, it's not. But it seems like a potential. And it's exciting that there is a connection, that people are recognizing the need to either grow food or eat local food. And the way things are going, I think it's also harder to count on food being flown from around the world. You know, it's a good idea. When you shop at the farmer's market, it puts you in a very, mentality is about seasonal food. So you may want something and it's not in season, you know. So, but that's what happens when you keep things very local. So I appreciate the chance to be here. So, and thank you very much.